I'd like to call the November board meeting of the Board of Legislature to order. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then the moment of reflection. Thank you. May be seated. Roll call of members.
Legislator Nabawanek. Here. Jarrow. Drake. Here. Cantwell. Here. Barrett. Here. Monticelli. Reed. Here. Fitzpatrick. McBride. Here. Maxon. Here. Johnson. Here. Bray.
Here.
12 members present.
Okay. Next, we will have a public hearing on the 2020 tentative county budget. If anybody would like to speak to the budget, they may step forward and state your name and address. None. That's what we like. We like input too, but privilege of the floor one more time. I'll close the public hearing first of all and open privilege of the floor. None? Okay. Read. Pat went to get...
One of his constituents is older and needs the elevator.
Got it. So we shall wait then. For privilege or the budget? Right. Yep. Definitely. Who? Anthony? Yep. Alrighty, and the effort to keep things rolling, we'll get to the next complicated thing on the budget, or the meeting. Anybody wish to have the minutes of the last session read? None. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections? None. Then they'll stand as presented. Present? Yep, I'm going to go back to the privilege of the floor. Yep. You got along with that for this? Everybody, we'll wait. Is he ready to?
Yeah, I think he's ready whenever you are.
Yep, you can step right up, sir. We're at privilege of the floor if you'd like to speak. Please just state your name and address.
Okay. I'm Rufus Chalmers from Rays Bay in Henderson, and I'm here speaking on the part of the concerned citizens of Henderson. And I'd like to read this, and I'll give out copies of it. I didn't realize there was so many, but I don't have only a limited number of copies. But current Lake Ontario water level management has proven to be an ecological, economic, and personal disaster. Not only have lives been disrupted and families deprived of their use of their properties, but lives have been lost due to the stress from attempting to protect personal property from the destruction caused by high water. No reasonable person having a comprehension of water flow would agree with the reasoning for high water on Lake Ontario. The interest of commerce and business have taken the front seat over the interest of individual lake property owners. Unjust regulation of Lake Ontario flow adjustments have been taken into account. Seasonal minimal flows for hydropower and maximum allowable flows for stable ice cover formation and safe river velocities and levels for commercial navigation. There needs to be a plan that will work for all parties involved. Lake Ontario, the St. Lawrence River Regulation Plan 1958 DD, Plan 1958D with deviations. Worked well for decades with only the short departures outside of normal. Historical normal Lake Ontario 1918 to 2016 average water level has been 245.5 feet. Keeping the lake at or under the historical average will give water level controllers room for unforeseen events such as higher than expected rainfall or snow accumulation. The 1st of January, Lake Ontario water level should be no higher than the average 245.5 or less. By the 1st of April, the Lake Ontario water level should be drawn down to a level no higher than 244 feet. This gives the controllers of lake levels an opportunity to accommodate the spring snowmelt and rains. The lake should never be allowed to go above 246.5. The level of the lake on Friday, the 1st of November 2019, measured in Oswego 249 was 246.476 feet. The lake levels addressed in this proposal are reasonable and attainable. We live along Lake Ontario shore and see the results of the current negligence and mismanagement of lake levels. There is no cost to properly managing the outflows of Lake Ontario, but there is an unreasonable cost to the present lack of control. We ask you as our elected representatives to make a commitment taking the levels addressed in this statement forward to county and state governing bodies. We have been assaulted, mistreated, and offended. we now demand your support to ensure the disasters of 217 and 219 do not occur again. Now, I realize that a lot of people in county and town legislators are looking at the money that the state is going to give them for to repair this damage. But you cannot repair the damage to us, the people that have owned it, and the fact that it's not just the people that are on the lake, but it's everybody in the county and the state has paid for our reparations, which is a totally unreasonable situation. We need a commitment from the county, that we went to the town last week, and the town was not too interested in making the commitment. Well, we'll see how well they are the next time it comes election time. But the point is, we're getting that. Somebody has to sit down and say, these are the levels that the International Joint Commission, or what I prefer to call the incompetent Joint Commission, must meet. 249 is absolutely horrendous. And we have seen 249. I have neighbors that had a foot of water in their living room. And they live in a house that was built in 1880 and had never been wet before. Now, we're looking for some support from you, and we are preparing a letter to President Trump, Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, and Representative Elise Stefanik stating the same thing. This IJC must be abolished, and Plan 2014 must be abolished and returned to the Plan 1958 DD. I would be glad to take any question you might have.
This is just for privilege of floor. You're able to speak to us and tell us what your concerns are like you have expressed, and we will take your letter as part of the record. It's not a give and take. It's not a back and forth.
And I don't hear real well, so.
Yes, this is not a give and take session. It's just you can present your letter and express your feelings and concerns. Okay. Anybody else? Privilege of the floor? None? We'll close that. And we'll go down to presentations of petitions, notices, and communications.
We do have a couple letters in file of note we want to report to everybody. First, we have a letter from the Village of Sackett Harbor for a notice of public hearing for November 12th, actually, regarding amendment to their planned development district. We also have a letter from the town of Ellsburg regarding their 2019 special benefit assessment roll for water districts number 1 and 2. We've recently received a letter from our Soil and Water Conservation District regarding their timber harvest for the fall, and a check as well for $51,000. Thank you very much. And finally, we have a letter to the Board of Legislators recommending the appointment of Teresa Terry Nybarger as the Director of Veteran Services. That is it.
Okay. Reports of standing committees.
We have a report from the Finance and Rules Committee reporting favorably on legislation, on legislator expenses. And we also have reporting favorably on resolutions number 209, 210, 211, 212, 213, 216, 219, 220, and 223. Finally, we have a report of the Finance and Rules Committee recommending approval of the tentative budget for 2020.
Okay. Reports of county officers and others.
The report of the county treasurer on investments and cash on hand for last month, and we have a report from the county administrator on budget transfers.
Okay. Local laws, resolutions, and motions. Resolution number 191.
Adopting the 2020 tentative budget.
Discussion? Yes, Mr. Ferris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county budget sits fairly well with me until I get to the bed tax situation and the amount of money that we've spent and the amount of money that we haven't spent. So I spent some time with different legislators and tried to come up with some type of compromise to either let it pass or to vote against the overall budget. For my vote for the budget, we're going to have to take at least $150,000 that we've been doing to the TI Council, the special projects out of that, and have some other discussions. So I propose that amendment to the budget.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'd be willing to second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Discussion on the amendment. Yes, Mr. Nixon.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I haven't heard any discussion, I haven't heard from any legislators about alternatives to the TI Council spending money, and my colleague provided me with a breakdown of our funding level to TI Council. We're providing them with an additional $150,000, at least we have since 2013, for additional special projects. I don't believe that the hard-working men and women who run these hotels in the lake, along the river, in Luray, in the city of Watertown, are receiving an adequate return for our investment of their money. I think they would be able to spend this money a lot more effectively than we would. They're a lot smarter than we are. And I don't think that the TI Council has done anything wrong. I just don't think that they've done anything right either. I would like to see this $150,000 taken out of this budget line. I believe it's 04654 on page 143 of the budget, and I'd like to find someplace else to spend it.
Further discussion on the amendment? Yes, Mr. Giroux.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just not, I guess I don't fully understand the amendment. So we're taking out of the special, thank you. So you want to take $150-some thousand for, yep. Yep.
Since 2000, excuse me, I'm waiting.
First, Mr. Giroux, finish your question.
Yeah, I just want to clarify the amendment is what I want to do, especially since I don't have it in writing in front of me. I just wanted to make sure exactly what I'm voting.
Sure. Okay. Mr. Ferris, I assume you want to speak next?
Yes, thank you, sir. What I'm proposing is in 2013, we started giving $115,000 extra for TI Council special projects. During that period of time, from 2012, when we raised $470,000 in bed tax on the revenue, in 2013 it went up $28,000 more, which honestly isn't a bad investment, considering it's just advertising. And these are rudimentary numbers, and I talked with Mr. Hagman earlier. In 2014, it actually went up to almost $40,000 more. But in 2015, it dropped down to the same rate it was in 2012 without that 140. It went below that in 2016. So when you look at the numbers, what you're getting back on it, and we've been talking for some time about trying to figure out a better way to help our constituents and to bring more tourism into the county. And the only thing we've been able to do is throw more money at the TI Council. And I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. I'm saying possibly we can do a better job or figure out a different way or a different mechanism to bring more revenue in for that, or more people into the county for our tourism. It's unclear to me as a businessman that if I was doing the same type of advertising and seeing that as a return on my investment, I would look for another form of advertising that would bring me more to my investment. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying to pull $150,000 out of the budget to sit back in that fund until we can figure out a better way, or is this the only way that we can really do it? Because we still have a fairly large fund balance that we brought it down to at the end of this year, be around $300,000. Okay, and we wanted to keep that. And I'm saying I won't argue with all of that. I'm saying I think we can do a better job, or there's other avenues.
So, go ahead, Mr. Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll clarify that in just a minute here.
Okay, I think I got it.
Okay, but I got more clarification.
Okay.
Just in case you don't.
Okay, very good. So, part of the clarification, I guess I do, I'd like to know exactly who would be, so, I have a couple concerns about it. First, I don't think we can do it quickly. So, that's one of, I think, I agree with my colleague that I think we should be looking at this harder. I think it depends on exactly what that $150,000 is being spent on now. I'm not exactly sure what special projects means, and what that money is currently being spent on, or what it was spent on in 2019. If anybody will be hurt by it, pulling it out of 2020's budget, and then dragging our heels like government always does to actually make the decisions on how we should spend it for 2020. So I don't want there to be a decrease in the amount of promotion in 2020 compared to 2019 while we're deciding how to spend this money. That's one concern I have, and so I guess I'll leave it there. And if Mr. Hagman or you, Mr. Chairman, could actually explain to me where that $150,000 is being spent currently, that might help me make my decision with a vote. And I'll leave it with, I don't disagree with Mr. Ferris and Mr. Maxon that I think we should be taking a closer look at this. And I think that we should not be holding a large fund balance in the bed tax money. So, thank you.
Okay, so is there any further discussion? I'll clarify. So, first, the baseline funding for the TI Council has not changed in years, okay? We have special purposed some money over to the TI Council. That's why it looks like there's significant increases. You got the airport in there, the zoo is in there. There are a variety of special projects that have been included in there. So the baseline funding is, and there was a conscious effort when the fund balance was growing in that account to spend it down, and then there was a floor level that was established in terms of the base floor for the fund balance in that account to remain at, because in some years, if you go back in history, it was a deficit situation. So to rush out and say we're going to take 150, we don't know where we're going to take it from. Nobody has an idea of where to take it from. Whether we're going to take it from the baseline funding, whether we're going to wipe out the other special purpose money in place of that. So, and just one other thing, when you say dragging your feet, we purposely move judiciously, so it's taxpayer money. So we don't drag our feet. Hopefully you don't perceive it as being dragging our feet, but you know, part of the budget session is hearing different ideas come forward. And whether we make amendments to the budget or whether we set in place a work plan for the next year to address some of the concerns. Hopefully, I think we have experience at listening to what comes out during the budget time and taking that and trying to put those concepts into motion in the following year. So I think it warrants, we've heard everybody on the bed tax money, and maybe some repurposing or redeployment of the money. And I think it warrants a conversation with a little less haste than trying to do it right here and a little bit more in depth. So it's, you know, with all due respect, Mr. Ferris, but so we completely think it through and vet the whole issue. You know, whether we can, what everybody's ideas are for repurposing that money or deploying it differently. And then look at the money that's in that account and also what you want to keep for a fund balance in that account. I think you have to look at everything in the broad context and versus just, I mean, because I don't know where you're talking about getting the 150 from. So, but in any event, I understand your point. It's a matter of whether this board wants to support that level of additional redeployment of money. That's certainly the consensus of this board. Whether they want to redeploy it or repurpose that money, then you've got to look at various people who can operate with that money and deploy it as the board sees fit. You've got to find an organization. So there's a lot of work to do in doing that, and I would suggest that you give time to have maybe whether it requires an ad hoc committee or just some group discussion to come up with a proposal, something that we can bring back to the board for consideration, and consider all the stakeholders that are involved. You know, there's a lot of people have a lot of activities and a lot of ideas, and I think it would be nice if we get it all packaged. Yes, Mr. Ferris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So people don't think that this is something that I just got uptight about recently. This happened many years ago when Carolyn was the chairperson and I started torturing.
I just overrode your mic. So.
You don't override me.
I'm
loud enough anyways.
Yeah.
So,
There was just wishful thinking on my part.
So you know, the $150,000 I'm talking about, when you look at it in the budget, it doesn't break it out for the special projects. This was a sheet that I asked for, and it breaks it down. We were always told that we don't give money to anybody, but we give money to the DPAO for concerts, we give money to the airport, we give money to the zoo. And on that $150,000, part of that money, roughly $50,000, I believe Mr. Hagman said, goes toward the airport advertising, because American Airlines doesn't advertise. So we're taking that money to advertise. Now, do I have a problem with that? I don't really think I do. But there's also other money in there for the zoo and different other projects. So we've been spending $548,000 since 2014, and we've been bringing in 2014 we brought in $510,000. The next year we did $520, we brought in $470. So we're spending more money than we're bringing in now. We're bringing down the fund balance that's there. So next year, when it comes down to $150,000 extra for them, it's not going to be there unless we dip into the $300,000 that we're supposed to keep as a holding fund balance. So in principle, this is failing or about to fail or about to break the rules that we have set, that you said right there just a few minutes ago. So this is not going to make it unless we figure out how to take money and make more money to bring it in. We're spending more, bringing down the fund balance, and when you say, I don't want to be hasty, I'm sorry I brought this up at the last minute, but it was a decision that I made earlier today that I was going to bring it up so that people would see. It's just not going to happen. So whether it's next year or the year after, they're not going to get $500,000 because the money won't be there.
So everything you just said I think goes to my point, that it's going to require time to figure this out and to try to put together a proposal that the board can consider. Including in that, how long can we afford to spend and to what level, and Phil, Legislator Reed will recall, there was great discussion on what level to take the fund balance down to. So, so that maybe that conversation has to be rediscussed, bring it back up so we can decide. Maybe is people happy with that? Because at some point, you're correct. Some of these are going to have to go away. There's going to be some decisions that are going to be made, and when you say we got to find out a way to make more money so we can spend, you're correct. That's why it's going to require more of a plan than just, in my opinion, why it's going to require some longer-term thinking here. So, I appreciate your motion. I appreciate your. I don't support it. I'm going to tell you that, and I think I've offered you an alternative, but everybody else feel free to speak. Mr. Maxim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The special purpose funding, where does this go? $50,000 to airport advertising on top of the $25,000 airport advertising line?
That's correct.
So,
as Legislator Ferris just pointed out, there is no advertising money available through American Airlines. So we look at a variety of ways utilizing, frankly, when I say we, the airport manager and the TI council staff, different mechanisms to do marketing outside of the area to attract more business passengers. The specifics of the $100,000 for the upcoming year, I didn't know this would be discussion, so I don't have it in front of me, but I believe there were 4 or 5 very specific projects that were identified in the budget proposal, all of which require a stakeholder share, so it's not just government money going to something. There's some sort of an initiative that requires a stakeholder share to participate in that particular type of activity. I would point out, just for what it's worth, there are 2 hoteliers on the board, there's a restaurateur on the board, there's a representative from the Bridge Authority also on the board from the standpoint of attracting people both sides over the bridge. There's a marketing person from a local television station that's also on the board. So it's a pretty good mix of stakeholders, if that's what it's intended to be. It's not just a group of government folks sitting together. It really is stakeholders, of which you appoint half, and the Bridge Authority also appoints half every other year. So this is some background information.
I do appreciate that information. I've taken my crazy pills this morning. I do remember bringing this up at our budget workshop and it going nowhere, not getting the information. I appreciate my colleague doing a little more research. Gosh, the fact that we give additional money above and beyond what's shown on the budget to the zoo and to the airport, spending bed tax money simply to spend it doesn't seem to be the intent of the bed tax, although I would like to repeal the bed tax. We'll have that discussion this year. I appreciate his work here, and I don't want to delay his motion any longer.
That's okay. I'll just, you did bring it up at the budget workshops, and I would tell you that it is going someplace because there was ample conversation to follow, and I think there's a desire on most of the legislators' part to have a discussion and go forward and discuss some of the various things that you brought up, some of the various things the legislator affairs are bringing up right now. I think everybody is in favor of having those discussions. I haven't spoke to anybody that's disagrees with that position. I don't know, does everybody want us to take that and run with something that's not formulated right now, but that's up to everybody else to decide on their individual vote. But I would suggest that we formulate some sort of plan after having some discussion. The first thing we have to do is figure out what everybody's intent is, okay? And then once we figure out what everybody's intent is, we got to put that on paper and say, okay, we think this meets everybody's intent, and then bring it back to you for consideration. And I would say, Ms. Maxon, it was heard. You were heard at budget time. Mr. Ferris, you were heard at budget time, and we will address it. So, having said that, is there any more discussion on the motion? There's a motion and a second. Done? Oh, yes, Mr. Giro?
Thank you. So is it possible, if we pass this amendment, that we discuss it in the next month or 2 months, and then put it right back into the TI Council's hands? I mean, because even though you're assuring us that we don't drag our feet, but I still think occasionally that the wheels of government move pretty slowly compared to other wheels.
As we should. Right. As we should.
So I guess what I'd like to consider here in a very short period of time is, if we pull this money out, can we have a discussion about it and then put it right back in to the same hands, or decide to do something completely different with it? I understand, and we're talking about a lot of money, for promotion in Jefferson County. We're talking, $150,000, $200,000. That can be spent in a lot of different ways. If we do take it out, obviously it puts some urgency on making a decision on what we're going to do with it. So in that respect, I'm not for just pulling it out without knowing exactly what we're going to do with it. But I am kind of leaning towards, at the moment, pulling it out to hasten the process to decide what we do with it. And if the projects if we decide jointly that the projects that this money is being spent on warrant that money, just that expenditure, put it right back in for now, and then decide what we're going to do differently next year. So it's just a thought I'm having while we're making these hasty decisions. Thank you.
We work with taxpayer money. We work slow. Thank you. I'll take responsibility for that. So, Mr. Reed, then Mr. Ferris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that discussion is well warranted. I don't agree with doing it right now, but I think we can take everybody at their word that we can get something done. And I'm not opposed to tweaking that fund balance, like you know that. But I don't think pulling the money out at the last minute is going to prove well to people that have already done their budgets or wherever this money's going for. I think we can take people at their word that you could start something in January and then have it done in the first quarter, and then we're not talking about it at budget time. It'll be already done. So that's my position. Lots of good conversations. I can't say that I disagree with much of it, but just the timing, I'd rather wait and set a goal. Get it done by the first quarter of next year, and regulate your fund balance, decide where you're going to go with the stuff, put a timeline on it, get some people in a room. I mean, there's enough business people and government people that we could work that out. So that's my position. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Ferris was next, then Mr. Navlanic. Go ahead, Mr. Navlanic.
Just to clarify, this vote that we're doing right now will be on the amendment.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. Ms. Ferris, you had your hand up?
Yep. Once again, I want you to understand this isn't something I hastily did. I was working with another legislator trying to figure out how we could spend the fund balance, what we could do. Then it was told that this wouldn't happen on this budget period. It'd be next year. Looking at the numbers, it's a failing thing that we're doing. So you can wait till the blood starts coming, or you could stop it before the blood starts coming. And as far as dragging along, this has been going on for quite a few years, and I appreciate the fact that we're spending the fund balance. Once again, I'd say, as a businessman, as a member of the community, I think it can be done better. And I'm all about what Legislator Giro said. I mean, if we put it back in this year, I wouldn't have a problem if it was proved that we needed to and look at it. But right now, I don't have anything that says that we needed to. It's a discretionary fund and for special projects. so for that reason, I'll leave it where I'm at and go down in a blazing ball of fire, and thank you very much.
Further discussion? Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman. I too have had an interest in this fund for several years. I tried to go down the path a couple of years ago. I got some answers. I can't support Mr. Ferris's amendment, but I do have a suggestion. We pass a resolution every year that says the base amount for the TI Council is $344,000, and there's $150,000 that'll be used for specialized promotion. My suggestion would be us as a group having more input in how the $150,000 is spent on special promotion.
And that's exactly why you need more time to put together, to figure out what everybody's intent is and put together a plan, just because of concerns like that you hear. So, all valid concerns. Mr. Ferris got valid concerns. Everybody's got valid concerns. You just need to get it all addressed in a more formalized fashion. Mr. Maxon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can we call the question
I was just
on Mr. Ferris's
I was just
motion to amend the budget
I was
by
gonna,
$150,000?
I was just about to call the question. So we have a motion, we have a second, and that being the end of the discussion, we'll call the question and we'll do a roll call vote.
So to the motion to take out $150,000, I believe.
You're right. Mr. Ferris, just clarify your motion one more time. You want $150,000 taken out of the TI Council for repurposing. Right, got it. Okay, got it. Okay. Yep. Roll call.
Legislator Johnson? McBride? Reed? Ferris? Drake? Nebewanek? Jarrow? Monticelli? Cantwell? Maxon? Fitzpatrick? Gray?
No.
The motion defeated 8-4.
Okay, back to the original. Any more, we're still on resolution number 191. Further discussion? Further discussion on 191? None? Roll call. Sorry, back to business.
Okay.
What's that? Yeah, we're on resolution number 191, which is adopting the 2020 tentative budget.
Correct.
Roll call.
Legislator McBride? Ferris?
No.
Monticelli? Nebewanek?
Yes.
Maxon? Johnson? Reed? Cantwell? Drake? Jarrow? Fitzpatrick? Gray?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution number 192.
Appropriation for the conduct of county government for fiscal year 2020.
Discussion. None? Roll call.
Legislator Fitzpatrick? Cantwell? Drake? Nebewanek? McBride? Maxon? Johnson? Reed? Ferris? Monticelli? Jarrow? Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 193.
Adopting capital plan for 2020-2025.
Discussion. None? Roll call.
Legislator Reed? Ferris? Johnson? Jerro. Drake. Nebelwanik. Monticelli. Fitzpatrick. Maxon. Cantwell. McBride. Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 194.
Certification of taxes to the city of Watertown.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 195.
Levying tax map maintenance charges for 2020.
Discussion. None? Roll call.
Legislator Maxon? Monticelli? Fitzpatrick? Nebelwanik? Jerro? McBride? Ferris? Reed? Cantwell? Johnson? Drake? Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 196.
Payment of legislator expenses.
Discussion. All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 197.
Approving mortgage tax report.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 198.
This is authorizing a memorandum of understanding with the Village of Carthage regarding cooperation in the village and county to rehabilitate a condemned property in the Village of Carthage.
We need a motion and a second, if you would, please, on the resolution to change the address to 135 North Washington Street. May I have a motion, please? Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Second, Mr. Nabwanik. Discussion on the amendment. None. Vote on the amendment. All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. Okay, on the amended resolution number 198, any discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. Resolution 199.
Authorizing annual agreement with Assistance East Incorporated for total collection solution web support and maintenance.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 200.
Appointing Director of Office for the Aging.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 201.
Approving appointment of County Director of Veteran Services.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried.
Amending the 2019 county budget in relation to fuel farm repairs at the Watertown International Airport.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 203.
Amending the 2019 county budget and capital plan in relation to the Watertown International Airport snow removal equipment acquisition project.
Discussion? None? Roll call.
Legislator Jerro? Drake? Nebelwanik? Patrick? Cantwell? Reed? Ferris? McBride? Johnson? Jackson? Monticelli? Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries. And that equipment was used heavily today.
Resolution 204.
Amending the 2019 county budget in relation to electric vehicle charging station at the county office building.
Discussion? Yes, Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does this cover the whole project? Does this $8,000 cover the whole?
Yes, the cost of the equipment, yes, it does.
Okay, so in our buildings and grounds are going to install and
It is installed, it's operational, it's being used, not every day, but there is use out of it. And on top of it, it was the final piece of the puzzle that now has qualified us for a $250,000 energy grant award. Thanks, sir.
very good. Thank you.
Further discussion? None? Roll call.
Legislator Ferris. Drake. McBride. Maxon. Cantwell. Nebelwanik. Johnson. Reed. Darrow. Monticelli. Fitzpatrick. Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries.
205.
Amending the 2019 county budget in relation to sheriff corrections.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 206.
Authorizing agreement with Jefferson Lewis Boces for school resource officer.
Discussion. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 207.
Authorizing agreement with Avalon Associates for development and administration of the 2018 Community Development Block Grant Housing Award.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 208.
Authorizing agreement with Avalon Associates for development and administration of the 2019 Community Development Grant Housing Award.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 209.
Authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project, appropriating funds therefore.
Reviewed it. Discussion. None? Roll call.
Legislator Gerald? Yes. Cantwell? Yes. Drake? Maxon? Yes. McBride? Fitzpatrick? Reed? Nebewanik? Ferris? Monticelli? Johnson? Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
210.
Amending the 2019 county budget and capital plan in relation to Lake Ontario flooding.
Discussion. Roll call.
Legislator Monticelli? Jarrow? Yes. Nebewanik? Yes. Cantwell? Yes. McBride? Yes. Johnson? Yes. Ferris? Yes. Maxon? Yes. Fitzpatrick? Yes. Drake? Reed? Yes. Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
211.
Amending the 2019 county budget in relation to the county road machinery fund.
Discussion. Roll call.
Legislator McBride? Fitzpatrick? Johnson? Monticelli? Darrow? Nebewanik? Cantwell? Drake? Maxon? Reed? Ferris? Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
212.
Amending the 2019 county budget and capital plan in relation to the county road project.
Discussion. Roll call.
Legislator Nebewanik? Drake? Monticelli? McBride? Johnson? Reed? Maxon? Cantwell? Ferris? Darrow? Fitzpatrick? Gray?
I don't know. Yes. You don't want to repurpose that money, do you? Okay. 213.
Amending the 2019 county budget in relation to recycling and waste management.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 214.
Authorizing Jefferson County to be the lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act for the purpose of the 2019 inclusion of viable agricultural land to existing agricultural districts and making a determination of non-significance.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 215.
2019 inclusion of viable agricultural land in the certified agricultural districts before the district's established review period.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. 16.
Amending the 2019 county budget in relation to the Home Investment Partnership Grant Program.
Discussion? None? Roll call.
Legislator Fitzpatrick? Drake? Cantwell? Johnson? Reed? Darrow? Nebewanik? Ferris? McBride? Maxon? Monticelli? Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
17.
Authorizing the execution of subordination agreement with mortgage note held by Jefferson County in relation to the Community Development Block Grant Housing Improvement Program.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 218.
Adopting guidelines and administrative procedures in relation to the county's housing improvement program funded by the 2019 New York State Community Development Block Grant Award.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 219.
Authorizing agreement for raise the age relative to probation department.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 220.
Recognizing New York State Governor Traffic Safety Committee Child Passenger Safety Program grant and amending the 2019 county budget in relation thereto.
Discussion? None? Roll call?
Legislator Reed? Monticelli? McBride? Johnson? Maxton? Jerrold? Neverwanick? Ferris? Fitzpatrick? Drake? Cantwell? Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
221.
Authorizing agreement with New York State Unified Court System for provision of court security services by Jefferson County.
Discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 222.
Authorizing the 2020 through 2022 intergovernmental agreements between Jefferson County and its towns relative to road and bridge maintenance services, construction and reconstruction of roads, and sanding, snow, and ice removal.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 223.
Amending the 2019 county budget relative to district funding for Community Services Department.
Discussion? None? Roll call.
Legislator Cantwell? Johnson? Fitzpatrick? Jerrold? Monticelli? Reed? McBride? Neverwanick? Maxton? Drake? Ferris? Gray?
Yes.
Motion carries.
224.
Authorizing agreement for the provision of related services in connection with a program for preschool children with disabilities.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 225.
Appointing and reappointing members of the Jefferson County Public Health Service Health Advisory Board.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 226.
Reappointing members to the Jefferson County Public Health Service Professional Advisory Committee.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 227.
Authorizing agreement with Waleski Home Health and Hospice Corporation relative to an OASIS auditing software program.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 228.
Establishing compensation for temporary professional employees employed in connection with the county rabies program vaccination clinic.
Discussion? Mr. Maxim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What's the funding source? Where does this get paid from? Dog control? Do we get grants from our friend, the senator?
It's state funding.
Okay.
Further discussion? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. 229.
Amending the 2019 Comprehensive Planning Resource Allocation Agreement with New York State Office of Children and Family Services and authorizing amended contractual youth program agreements in relation thereto.
Discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Opposed? Carried. That concludes the resolutions.
I have one item.
Okay. Mr. Hageman will start off.
Legislators, one of the items you did this evening was appoint a new Office of Aging Director, Chris Ingersoll. Chris is here. Chris, would you stand up and just wave so everybody gets to know you? Congratulations.
Anything else come in terms of old business, new business, or any business? Yes, Mr. Monticelli.
Thank you, Chairman Gray. The administrator referenced a letter from Soil and Water regarding a lumber sale,
The legislator speaking.
regarding a lumber sale in the amount of $51,081. And the only reason because I'm on their board, I just wanted to just give you a little more detail on it. Apparently, it wasn't, when I went out to bid, there wasn't a lot of bidders, but the amount that we got for the stand in Winona Forest was considered by the county trail coordinator, who was also a certified forester, thought it was a fair deal, and we got a good price on it. It was 1,300 trees, and, you know, not a lot of, I don't have my phone, so I couldn't do the math, dividing 51,000 by 1,300 trees. Think about doing long division. But my point being, I just wanted to bring to your attention, it's a big deal for them, and of course the money went to the treasurer. So I mean, if it wasn't announced here tonight, I mean, like I said, the administrator did announce it. I just wanted to give you more detail. And if anybody wants to know how many board feet or tons or how much was firewood, I'd be glad to give them that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Monticelli. Anything else come before the board? You doing the math, Mr. Ferris? No. Anything else come before the board? Yes, Mr. Mint.
Now, this 51,000, are we realizing that as revenue in our budget on line item 92652, sale of forest products?
We recognize it now. We never know from year to year what that revenue will be, so we don't budget it in advance, but we do have an account which it gets applied to.
Further? Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Mr. Navonic, second. Mr. Maxon, all in favor?